Oh, hello there. Are you having trouble with goal scoring on your team? Are you having trouble producing enough offense to win games? Well, I'm here to tell you that these guys on this board absolutely do not have that promise. They have led the last year's NHL season in goal scoring. Welcome back to the O Hockey Show. Now, if you want goal scoring, you look at these guys on this list. I mean, names like Matthews, Dry Seidl, Ovechkin, the king of goal scoring, who I've got to talk about someday. These guys are, well, at least last year, dominated the league in goal scoring. So I wanted to take a look at the top 10 goal scorers of last season and just take a look at them and see like where they probably end up this year. Can they continue? Was this just their year? What's the deal with some of these guys? So first we got Matthews, of course, the number one guy, probably the next big goal scorer after Ovechkin finally retires, or currently now. So 60 goals. First time someone has scored 60 goals in what, like, I remember it's like 10 years or something, or it's been a while. Someone got to 60, and I think it was Ovechkin that actually did it. Not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that. But anyways, Matthews there. I mean, incredible. 60 goals. Can he do it again? I don't think so. Can he do it again? Yes. But this season, I would say no, not this season. I think this year maybe in my mind, the Maple Leafs aren't going to be as good as they have been. I think they might go a little bit down, but I think Matthews, I don't think he can get to 60 again. I just feel like this upcoming season's not really going to be like there. I don't see this as like the Maple Leafs year. You know what I mean? I feel like this, like last year was like everything was going just so well for the Maple Leafs. I think this year is just going to be one that they're just, they're not going to struggle by any means. I feel like they got to be knocked down a peg, kind of like Thor in his, well, not Thor. Like they're just going to get down a little bit in all around. So Matthews to 60 again, probably not. But I do think he'll be in the top 3 of goal scoring for probably the rest of his career, unless guys just absolutely destroy some seasons. Next, Leon Dry Seidl, one of the guys that has been leading the league in points and goals. McDavid's right behind him, but when it comes to goals, Dry Seidl is the guy. McDavid is the number 2 when it comes to goals. Dry Seidl is the number 1. He is the goal scorer of the two. 55 goals. 55! I mean, this guy is incredible. Leon Dry Seidl, obviously the best German player of all time. Where does he end up this season? I would say top 3 again. 55 goals, maybe. I mean, maybe goal scoring is on the rise, and I do see the Oilers being a lot better this year, so I would say that Dry Seidl would probably, maybe he's potentially the guy to score 60 goals next year. I think with this better Oilers team, as long as things stick together, I think he could get to 55 again. He could get to 55 or above. I would say at least 50. I think he is good enough to get at least 50. I would say he's top 3 again. Wouldn't be surprised if this next year is his season to be the number 1. Feel like it's his season, it's his year to break out again and be that guy. Next up, Chris Kreider, the first guy on this board that I'm going to say is going to fall off this year. And when I say fall off, not off like a cliff by any means, but I would say that Chris Kreider isn't, I don't think, he's not 52 goals worthy guy, you know? Like, some guys just have a great season some years, and that's just their season that they were awesome. He was on an absolutely energetic, skilled team with the Rangers, which they still are, but I feel like Kreider's year was last season. He's going to get knocked down a peg. I mean, could he do it again? I don't think he could. I think some guys just have their 1 year of fame, and then sometimes they get infamous and praised like Nazem Kadri, or you're like Chris Kreider and everyone's like, he was great, but I don't think he's going to do it again this year. 52, I would say he could get in the 40s. I would say 42. I'll give him 42 next season. I don't see him on this board, though. I mean, I guess 42's got on the board this year, but I don't think Chris Kreider is a top 3 goal scorer in the league. I think he just had his good season, so he's down. Alex Ovechkin, 50 goals, the man, the myth, the legend, the absolute freaking best goal scorer of all time. Alexander Ovechkin, 50 goals. Can he do it again this year? I would like to think he can. I would like to think that he will continue his dominance of being the best goal scorer ever. Is this the year he gets knocked down a little bit? I personally think that this might be the year where Ovechkin. I don't want to. Ovechkin's not going to fall off this year, but I would say this might be his last hoorah. I think after this year might be when he starts coming down a little bit. Maybe he starts a little bit this year. Maybe he only gets to like 45 or something, and then maybe next season. I mean, I say he could get to 30, and that's a bad thing, even though like 30 goals is pretty good for any player. So I think this is going to be Ovechkin's real last, like really strong push to make his claim for the title of being the number one goal scorer, and then he's going to try to work it out for the last few years of his deal. So I think could he get to 50 again this year? I would say yes. He can get to 50. He's probably not going to lead the league in scoring. I think that goes to these guys up here. But 50, solid number for Ovechkin. I think he stays at I would say the number 4 spot for him is probably pretty good. Number 5, Kirill Kaprizov, 47 goals. I gave him a check mark. With check marks means like I think they're just like good where they're at. I think he's good around 47. I could see him go up, but I feel like the Wild lost a little bit, and some guys haven't really earned my like solidity seal of approval, where like guys like Hartman and stuff that are going to prove that they can be good as they were the one season they were great. So Kaprizov, 47 goals. I think he could get to 47, but I don't see him getting much higher than that. Maybe he can break into the 50, but I say 50 is probably his ceiling. Eventually, I would say he can get up there. I could see him up here at the top of the board, but this season, I would say no. Number 6, Kyle Connor, the most underrated guy in the league. Well, at least in the top 3 of that category of people. Kyle Connor is absolutely incredible. And 47 goals, if you take a look, he is in the top 10 of goals every single season. It's just he doesn't get recognition for, which is insane. Guys like Nazem Kadri don't even break into the top 10 of points, yet they're praised out of belief. Which is insane to me. So Kyle Connor, 47 goals, underrated player. I wanted to give him a down arrow, but then I thought to myself, I love him. I've always thought he was great. I've always been on the bandwagon for Kyle Connor. He's always in my fantasy team. He's always one of my top picks because no one ever goes for him. So I always leave him in the back, and then I pick him up because no one thinks about grabbing him because they're all like, who's that? I don't know. So Kyle Connor, I love the guy. I think he's incredible. Every year he shows that he is a top 10 goal scorer. It's just no one really takes notice of it. So I'm easily going to stay up here in the top 10. Connor Mcdavid, another Connor. So McDavid, 44 goals. I mean, 44 and up is like, McDavid's going to dominate regardless of what he gets. It's so hard to tell. If McDavid wanted to be the number 1 spot up here, he could. If he wanted to be the goal scorer and drop a little bit of the playmaker style, he could easily be up here. But I think he's all about winning and trying to get his team to the end. So I feel like it's just depending on what he feels that day. If McDavid feels like getting more goals, then he'll do it and he'll drop the assists. But I think he's more about winning with his team, and he drops himself in goals. He could easily be number 1. He could be easily number 10, but still get 120 points. Who knows? So it's all up to him. He could be anywhere on this board. It's up to McDavid. Number 8, Matt Duchene. Another guy that I feel like is underrated. A guy that like people make fun of and stuff for being probably like an overpaid guy. But I mean, he had 43 goals this year. 43 goals is not bad for anybody. That's better than Huberdeau. That's better than Goudreau. I mean, the list goes on. It's better than Stamkos. 43 goals is not bad at all. And I do think he's going to go down. I don't think he's going to get to 43 again. But Duchene, hell of a year. Another underrated guy. Not really, I don't think underrated is the right word. I think overly scrutinized because he really isn't that bad. I mean, 43 goals, pretty good for your team. If a guy said you want 43 goals on your team from a guy, it's a yes. So please, Matt Duchene, come to any of the teams that I cheer for, which is Nashville, so I guess just stay where you are. So, I love Matt Duchene. I've never fallen off his cliff. I've always thought that he was good. So, 43 goals. I do think he's going to drop off, but solid. I think he probably gets his place taken over by Forsberg this season. Number 9, Steven Stamkos, the 3-time Stanley Cup finalist, captain of the team, a guy that I absolutely love. I think he is the definition of a captain for his team. He just has so much heart and soul being just who he is. 42 goals. I don't know why I put a down arrow. I think he could get 42 goals again. Does he get 106 points again? Probably not. But 42 goals, I could easily see him at least getting 40. 40 goals and above is where anything above 40 is where I would say his territory is. So 42 goals, I think he's good on the list. I don't know if he cracks the top 10. It kind of depends on what every other player does. But if 40 and above is able to get him on this top 10, then I would say, sure, he makes it in. And finally, ending up the list, number 10, Matthew Cachuck, the newly made Florida Panther. The only guy on this list that actually has changed teams, Matthew Cachuck, bringing his 42 goals to Florida. With Florida, I think that number goes up. Playing with Barkov and Reinhart most likely, I would say that number probably goes up, and he's a growing player, and he's going to be on a more winning team, and he'll have more confidence with this team that I think he'll try to do some more crazy dangles, and I could easily see him up here anywhere on this list. I'd say 45 at least is what he gets to this year. It probably could go up higher than that, but I would say 45 for Matthew Cachuck, and he ends up in like 7 territory. But that's really all I wanted to talk about this list. Some guys not to mention is like, what if Patrick Kane this season? If Patrick Kane goes somewhere and he can try goal scoring there, well, playing on a good team, if he gets to go somewhere. I mean, some guys, Panarin isn't on this list. He could end up back on here again. Zibanejad, so Forsberg, few guys that just didn't have the season, and they could be back on this list. But thank you for watching. This is just a little review of the list here. Not just trying to come up with something to make for you to listen to if you're interested. So if you are interested, please pick up your free subscription down below by hitting that red subscribe button. There it is. I hit the wrong hat. And hit the little bell that pops up next to it for further notifications. If you like this video, leave a like, not a dislike, but go down below and tell me what you think about this list. Who do you think can crack the top 10, and who do you think takes the grand prize at the end of this upcoming season? Will it be Matthews again, or will Ovechkin make one final run for it, or will Dry Seidl and Mcdavid dominate all? But thank you for watching. Till next time, I've been Owen, the nicely dressed, too sweet, and ta-ta for now.